Hi, everybody, and welcome to week 7 of FYE 103. We are just about at the halfway point. We meet for 15 weeks, and so week 7 is right there in the middle. So if you're feeling that kind of mid-semester slump, just know that you're not alone. I think I might have shared this with you before, but the semester tends to be kind of like a roller coaster. You start, maybe that's not a great analogy, but since roller coasters don't start high, but you tend to start the semester with a lot of motivation, and you kind of then it kind of crashes sometimes in the middle. It feels like the semester is just kind of feels like there's a lot of time left ahead of you, and it just, sometimes you get tired and things happen and life happens outside of school. So if you're there, if you're feeling that at all, please know that that's normal. Don't let it think that it means something's wrong with you. It just means you are having the typical student experience. Hang in there. Don't lose sight of your good habits. Don't lose sight of your goals and your why. It can really help to reconnect with your goals and your sense of why you're doing this during kind of some of those rougher times. And then a little bit more time will go on, but weather's changing. You'll start to see that the end of the semester will start to feel closer. So you may not be there. Some of you might be just, cruising. Motivation is high, and that's great. And if you're there, that really is great. But if you're struggling a little bit, just please know you're not alone. It doesn't mean you can't do this. You've got this. And just keep doing all the good things that you're doing. Along those lines, it's a great time for everybody to kind of step back and think about, okay, what's been working this semester, and how can I make sure to do more of what's been working for me? And really kind of take a look at, is there anything that's not working? Are you turning in your assignments or starting your assignments at the last minute and then feeling like you're rushing and maybe not getting some done? Just think about what might not be working for you and just do some small course corrections, set a couple of goals. This week I'm going to do this different. I think it's a really great idea, especially if you have more than one class, more than our class, and especially if all of your classes have a Sunday deadline, to give yourself individualized deadlines. So maybe for FYE 103, you give yourself the deadline if you want to have the work for the week done by Fridays. And then that gives you a little bit of a safety net. If you end up needing the weekend, that's great. But what if you set those different deadlines or guidelines for yourself, as opposed to feeling like you have to do everything over the weekend and then losing your entire weekend perhaps to schoolwork? So, I want you to think about that and think about, can you structure your week a little bit different? Are you doing some work on your classes every day of the week, even if it's a busy day with work, other responsibilities, classes, even if it's busy? Can you squeeze in an hour to two, broken up into 30-minute sessions even? There's a lot you can get done over the course of the week instead of just letting it build up and all be done at the last minute. So anyway, just kind of wanted to mention that since we're at that midway point. So let's take a look. So what are the recent announcements that have been posted? So last week, the welcome video, like this week's, will be here. It was World Mental Health Day last week. So if you didn't have a chance to look at this announcement, it has some great resources for college students related to mental health and well-being. Some things maybe if you're interested in improving your own mental health, but also some ways to help a friend or somebody you care about. So some great information in the announcements. Make sure you're checking those. Make sure you're checking your grades. And so you've got the grades option there. Make sure you're paying close attention to your grades so you know where you are. There's still time to make a difference in your grade. If you're doing great, maintain. That's awesome. But there's still time to turn things around if you don't like what you see. So, it can be tempting if you feel like your grade might be lower than you want it to be. We all have that tendency to not want to look, but the not looking doesn't help. So if you haven't checked your grade lately, make sure you do that and make sure you're doing that regularly. So as far as the modules go, so here is where we are. So we just finished up week 6. So those were the assignments due last week. We're still in the grace period for week 6. If there's any of these assignments, you still need to turn in. So academic and career success strategies, you learned about metacognition, decision-making, goal setting, time management, procrastination and productivity, and then self-care as a success strategy. So a big week of thinking about some really important concepts that if you practice them in college, they're going to make you a better student. And then you're also developing the skills that you need in your future career. So a great week, identified some SMART goals, In that assignment, you also really kind of took a look at what might be an obstacle or a challenge for you in terms of meeting your goals. And then you had a chance to think about, okay, what are my resources? What are the connections I have? What are the habits of mind I can use to overcome that potential challenge? Fighting procrastination with metacognition. So for those of you who struggle with procrastination, hopefully this gave you some good insight into why you engage in that behavior and how to fight it. And then creating a study plan. So 4, I hope, really practical, relevant assignments to your experience as a student, a good chance to practice some good success strategies. So again, we're still in the grace period until 9:59 p.m. tonight on Tuesday. So if you're watching this today, you still have that opportunity if you missed anything last week. And then this week, week 7, deep dive into self-care, which is one of my favorite topics. And I have to say that in general, when students explore what self-care really is and what all it encompasses, so many times students say, oh my gosh, I really need this. It's not fluff. It's not bubble baths and pedicures and, and eating chocolate ice cream. It's much deeper than that. And without good self-care, we really sometimes don't have the energy or the ability to be our best. So you can get a chance to explore what is self-care. And then we've broken it down for you. I've broken it down for you into purposeful mind, purposeful body. And then that breaks down into eating nutritiously, hydrating, and then also movement and sleep. These are huge. Purposeful emotions, being aware of your emotions. Purposeful emotions, learning how do your emotions impact your learning experience. And then purposeful connectedness. How do our relationships and how do we connect with others, how does that actually become a part of our self-care? And then a page in the, again, what I consider your online textbook here, potentially unhealthy ways of coping with stress. So just some things, human tendencies to look out for. This week you have a discussion board where you're going to get to talk to each other about self-care, what you're doing, what your goals are. You've got a quiz, and then you're going to be turning in your self-care logs that you've been doing over the course of our class since week 2, and doing some action planning with self-care. The summary and some additional resources for you on this topic if you're interested. And then I also opened up week 8 for anybody who wants to get a head start on week 8. So week 8, we're going back to career part 2. This is the segment of career exploration that I call meaningful work. So when I think about career exploration, there's kind of 2 big things. Learning about careers and what's available, learning about yourself and who you are, and then there's this good fit. How do I know about careers? How do I know about myself? And then how do I find a career that's a good fit for me based on what I know? And that to me is all about finding meaningful work. Any career, any occupation can be meaningful work for somebody. It's really all about knowing who are you? What are your strengths? What do you love to do? What are the activities that you love to engage in that energize you? And then how can you do those and focus on those through your work in a way that's making a positive difference? And when you do that, whatever you do, whatever career occupation you go into, if you feel like you're using your strengths on a regular basis to make a positive difference, that sense of doing meaningful work is really powerful. So just a little fast forward, a little overview of week 8. If anybody wants to work ahead, you're going to learn about kind of that this is rooted in positive psychology and how positive psychology and career planning relate. A little bit of an overview more about what is meaningful work. We're going to circle back to the challenge mindset. So you did that in the first week. You took the challenge card sort and you identified the top 3 challenges you'd like to make a positive difference towards. And now we're going to do an action plan related to that. The path to meaningful work. So once you kind of know what you want to do, how do you get there? A reminder about the support you have in academic advising at SCC. And then some acronyms for success, FYEs and WBEs. You'll learn what those are. And then the assignments in week 8, the meaningful work statement, the challenge mindset action plan, and an education plan quiz. These 2 are 2 of my favorite assignments. I think they're, if you put the time and thought that's intended into them, they can be extremely meaningful to you and your journey. So that is what is coming up. Just a reminder. I don't have the reminders in week 7. I reminded you in week 6. I'll remind you again in week 8. I'll remind you again now. Don't forget that you have 2 assignments still out there that require you to do some advanced planning. Your connection to campus assignment, where you're going to engage in 3 activities, one that allows you to connect with others, one that allows you to prepare or plan for your future, and one that allows you to develop the skills that you need to be successful. And then again, making sure you're thinking about your education and graduation plan, seeking out advising resources, making an appointment with your advisor if you'd like to sit down and meet with them before this assignment is due. So just a reminder, you don't want to be putting these off. You want to make sure you understand these assignments and you have dates on your calendar for when you're going to do these things, because I'll tell you, whoo, we're on that roller coaster, and the second half of the semester, the second half of class flies by. So that's where we are. You've also got your flex points assignments. So don't forget about those. There is a financial literacy workshop this week on Thursday. So if you're interested in learning more about your finances, take a look at these. There are scholarship hunt workshops coming up. Don't forget that you're going to be applying for a scholarship. And so you want to make sure that you know how you're going to do that. Got all kinds of different ways that you can earn some bonus points for class while getting really related and meaningful experiences. So if you haven't taken a look at that, please do. So that is where we are. So I hope week 7 is a great week for you. And again, if you've got any questions, let me know. Drop into office hours today on Tuesday from 11 to 12 or from 2 to 3. That's just a Zoom link that you have in your syllabus and Canvas, where you just drop in, no appointment necessary if you need to connect with me. But if you've got questions outside of that time, email me. Let me know if you want to set up a video meeting at another time. So that's what I got for you this week. Hope it's a great week. Take good care. Bye.